you guys can have town hall speaker series whenever you want. So
we can vote on having a town hall.
Right.
That's all we're doing is voting on it.
There's certain line item budget issues with how many town halls my committee can afford to put on. So if, budget aside, you guys can host as many series as you want. So I'm totally in favor of this. I think it sounds like a great idea. In terms of getting four of these financed fully as a full town hall, I'm not necessarily sure the outreach committee is capable of doing that, but we would definitely support and promote this series. So,
I have a question. How many are you supposed to do here?
We're supposed to do 2, plus there's one for elections. I think it was 4. 4 a year. One is supposed to be for election purposes. So the last town hall we did was
And was that this year?
yes. Well, yeah. Last year.
Yeah.
So this, we don't have to do these town halls this year, but next year. And
Right, but whether you call them a town hall or a forum or series, you guys can do as many.
That's exactly right. It can be a mini town hall.
I don't want you to think that you have to do this through the outreach committee necessarily, or through the VNC. As part of your committee, you guys can do whatever you want in terms of the speaker series.
So what we're doing now is we're putting this out there before the VNC to vote on, and then that's the time to have the discussion as to whether or not it's in conjunction with outreach, or if it's its own spin-off, or what those town halls might look like. But this is what this committee has identified as 4 areas that we would like to see the community's input as to what happens on Oceanfront Walk.
Yeah, I think there were 4 really good, meaningful topics that you guys could spend many hours discussing and learning about. So,
any other public comment?
I think you guys need to be prepared for the budget question. If you bring this before the board, just be prepared for the budget question. Because I'm sure
Be prepared to what?
Budget question. If you want to put on 4 town halls or whatever it is, I don't know what your committee's budget is, but I'm pretty sure what Outreach Committee doesn't have. So I'm just kind of backing on that. Just be aware of the costs involved, and I don't think Outreach.
What's the cost for a town hall typically?
well, you have to rent the facility, which can range in hundreds of dollars. Depending on how much you want to promote it, printed flyers, printed posters, and figures.
Why not have it outside, like at the Muscle Beach Amphitheater?
You said, that's great.
I mean,
You
yeah.
set that up. That's
Right.
awesome.
Free.
I'm telling you that these are questions that are coming from the board. You're going to say, well, how are you going to finance that? That's a lot of stuff,
And some other committees might be, well, we want
Right.
town hall to be an art thing.
Right.
I'm saying is like, regardless of what the board says, you guys can do this no matter what.
So right now, the public safety one is funded, and we would have to either ask for funding for out of next year's budget for the other 2 we want to do.
Or come up with their own funding.
Come up with our own funding. So in this, should we say that then? We're asking that the 2014
No, all we're
budget
doing is we're
include
voting to bring this before the
next
VNC
2.
committee.
Well, if they're going to ask about budget questions, I think maybe we should just put that
Like
in
Helen
right
just
now.
told you, they'll be asking us about budget questions at
You
the
don't have to
VNC.
necessarily answer that question immediately. That you could ask and say that we need money, and that might be a good place to start that discussion.
Okay, so all in favor of amending the motion, say aye.
I'd like to make a comment before we vote. I agree with Melissa. To me, you're dividing these things up. They're integrated questions. I don't know if they can necessarily be treated separately. So I think that should be determined first.
So the question was, so
Yeah,
Therese,
I know.
when we discussed it last month, we were talking about it and doing it as one mega town hall,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
I know, and now you want to divide it into 4. I understand what you're saying. I just say, I don't know that to try to isolate these issues, to me, that's not really fair, because the boardwalk they're integrated issues on the boardwalk. Every one of them impacts everyone else, and to talk about it in isolation, it's not the way to necessarily come up with the best consensus of what to do.
I agree with you. Just in my experience, and I recommend to Tom to break this up a little bit and just trying to make this a more manageable event, because there will be so much that needs to get covered, and you really only have an hour and a half, 2 hours after people's work day, late in the evening, So keeping it more focused. Yes, will there be things like bleed and cross into one another? Will mobility potentially come up in public safety? Yes, of course. But if you can try and keep a little bit, some guardrails around the discussion, my feeling is you'll be much more productive when you get out of it.
Yeah, I think, Therese, what he was saying is that if the town hall lasts an hour and a half or 2 hours, and the central topic is public safety, because that's the issue that needs to be, that the city wants to hear from the VNC on, and from the community of Venice, they want to hear about public safety. And so if the whole town hall meeting is taken up by public safety, then that's all there'll be. There will be little or no discussion on those other 3 topics. So that's, I mean, unless you know, I just can't think of another way to do it. Of course, they're all interrelated, and so maybe each one, that's the central focus, and then you talk about how the other things relate to it. You know, and it, like Matt just said,
Then I think that should be folded into the thing.
Into an
So
8-hour
talk about public
marathon?
safety, no, I'm not saying,
Yeah,
if you want to have separate meetings, then don't say this one's about public safety. Also taking into consideration other aspects of the boardwalk, so that people know that they can expand their comments a little bit, not just stick on public safety, in the isolation of everything else. I think that, to me, that's the best way to get an integrated, useful input from the public.
It's good public comment, but I think we should go.
well, yeah, unless we want to integrate Teresa's we can integrate that comment to say, I mean, what kind of language then would you add into that, Teresa? That would incorporate that. I hear you. I think it's important. So, how would you? What language would you integrate?
Primarily focused on this.
Yeah, I see what you say. I think it would all come, because mobility will come into the public safety, and then where are you getting the money for these bollards?
Well, what we could say is there's 4 town halls discussing the 4 following topics.
That's what Melissa said, and I think that that's perfect.
Okay, great. Oh, that is what you said. Okay,
The
good.
motion is the
Okay.
Ocean Front Walk Committee groups recommended the VNC host a series of Ocean Front Walk town halls on the following topics in the following order.
Okay, great.
Public safety, environmental enhancement, mobility, and resources.
Okay,
They
good.
can have 25 if they feel they need it. I just think that they shouldn't focus, the focus should not be just on one issue in
Got it.
isolation.
So did that?
Did you
The
read
way
this?
she read that, did that?
Yes.
And that's what this kind of, I mean, I think this is on public safety, but it's also talks about a lot of other things.
Good.
Okay, go ahead.
4 town halls on 4 topics. Okay? Let's take a vote. All in favor? Raise your
Wait,
hand.
just, someone has to second it, right?
Yes, you are.
One seconded it.
I did second it before.
Okay.
Melissa?
Yeah, I would favor it.
All opposed?
Too many.
Well, how many were in favor? Sorry.
4. All abstain? Voted in. Okay,
Recommendation.
moving right along.
Moving right along.
Confirming the date, we did that. Well, let's go revisit that again and talk about. Let's set a date to confirm the date. When can we lock in the 29th by? Anybody have
Well, we're talking about for the first one. I mean,
talking about the public safety town hall?
so I just want to be
Ocean
clear.
Front
Mike's gonna be able to give opening remarks, and then we'll leave.
But I will be around in February.
What if we have really good catering? Please say.
Has to be vegan Oaxaca.
Okay, we can do that. I know a great vegan Oaxaca place. So I'll get that. Well, all right. So next step for me would be to pencil in this day, the 29th. I want to circle up with Westminster School District, try and get the location locked down. But I think we need to outline who exactly is essential in terms of invitees to this town hall.
This is on the. This
Right,
is,
right, exactly. We're going into that.
Yeah, that's next.
We need like who's a must-have, and this.
Okay.
And let's figure out, because
Right.
we need to get this on their schedule as well.
Well-
So, and then I look for
And
you
we
to,
can help you with that.
that'd be great. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, good. So then let's move on to C, which is discuss the panel, Mayor Garcetti, Councilman Bonin, and additional staff from his office, hopefully, and other councilman members from around the city as well. Any thoughts on that?
So in terms of the other council members, it would be good to invite them, but if you get 10, that's considered a quorum. I doubt you'll get 10, to be honest, sorry, but you know, but it would be nice to invite all. So they will be voting on it.
Already bus over to town.
Less than 10.
So I'm just reading down the list, and if anybody has a comment about who,
Around that, if there were 10.
LAPD, LAFD, and this is something, are you, and I'll ask Fred if he's able to talk about this at all. It's just very difficult for me to understand the way Rec and Parks works, and so I don't know if I could ask you if you're prepared to.
Yeah, I can't do it visually or anything. Like, what do you want to know?
Just structurally how the infrastructure
Some
works.
Porto's in
So,
front of him, he's off the record.
Do you want me to do it so you
Yeah.
don't have to
Do you know it already? Okay, Matt
I
knows
mean,
it.
it's two-pronged structure,
okay,
recreation maintenance.
okay.
So we will go with probably Assistant GM, Kevin Regan.
Oh, boy, Kevin.
Yeah.
Because he
That's it.
oversees both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do go above both.
Yeah, because
Well, why did I go to the top and get mine?
yeah, it's. I mean, hey, he signed
I
off
think
on
we should invite him.
anybody that is on anybody that got that needs assessment report. I mean, he signed off on the report.
But he was on site
Yeah.
when we had all the meetings.
Anybody who walked through and contributed to the needs assessment should be on the
So
invite
there's a CC
Yeah.
list, right, in the back of this document.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
It's completing the job that they started.
So everybody, like, I mean, should anybody not be invited from this list?
Well, no, it's just if anybody has any ideas about anybody who should be invited that isn't on this list. So, Rec and Parks and their advisory board, Department of Sanitation is somebody that I really want to see at the sanitation town hall, and I don't know anybody over there. Beaches and harbors. One thing we left out is the Pacific Coastal Commission. Is that appropriate?
I don't know if we would want to bring them in. I mean, there's a possibility of we keep them out. Yeah, but I would keep them. Yeah. We'd rather.
That brings up an interesting point. Does all of these recommendations have to be run by them because they're going to impact access to the.
No, only if it involves something
I
that's
was asking
substantial. If something gets
Cecilia.
built, or you block a path, or you decide to send safety this way, then maybe yes.
So that
People
we
say the
have
ball
asked
right
a
now.
question
No, don't get
internally.
involved.
Yeah, we believe that this would be considered development. That's city opinion. That would not be considered.
But they consult
Tourist services. Melissa, would you talk about that for a minute because you know about it?
Well, I don't know, but I think that LA Inc. is the City Visitor and Conventions Bureau, and I thought it would be nice to have them there. If we're going to use the same forum that Matt had at Silicon Beach, where there's areas of booths where people can go around, in addition to a panel, I was thinking that that would be a nice person to have as part of a booth, was visitor, tourist resources, and what they do in Venice and how they can contribute to public safety. It's not, they're not going to be part of the panel, but just have an area in the space. But are we using that same format and template? Is the question. These were all just ideas.
Chamber of Commerce, of course, not on that list and should be.
So, are we talking about invitees or are we talking about speakers? 'Cause
Or both.
Write it down right now.
Invitees, okay. we know who's
We would
speaking?
look to your expertise for that.
I would turn to Cecilia.
Well, that's,
we have to get some guardrails around.
you have to start with a date, right? And then we say the 29th, then we know we've got a whole laundry list of things that we need to do between now and the 29th to pull this off. You know,
So
and
if Mike can give opening comments, that's great, to kick it off with a warm welcome here. But in terms of, do we want to be providing a platform? Do we want to have a more engaging public comment back and forth? Or do we want to have a small panel where he's like, all right, we're going to dive deep into this and then save public comment to the end?
well, we can talk about the format and the style. If we want to get through our agenda, we can talk about that. That are items that are go back to
Cool,
the.
we don't have to
go
talk
back
about it right now. We can do it offline. I just want to.
I mean, but obviously those are questions that will have to come to the
Part of the
answer.
laundry list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we should discuss everyone right now we want to invite and then have a separate meeting of planning and break down how it's going to work, you know?
Okay. So,
I would like to suggest that the councilman delivers the opening remarks and then hands it off. If there would be a focus on another speaker, I think it should be a high-level recreation and parks official. Because it can't hurt to use this platform to remind people that might be attending that this is a park. We're talking about a park.
And I would just say that sometimes these public officials are more than a little reluctant, to participate in such public forums. And in the past, our Councilmember Rosendahl was very helpful in encouraging both city officials and.
Well, we were going to have them all at the last VNC, so we already know who would be the key players in independent areas.
Oh yeah, so we can help.
So, because we had already coordinated with them to get them at the last VNC.
Great. Okay. Excellent.
so nonprofits that have a presence on the boardwalk, and finally businesses on Oceanfront Walk. So if there's any other sort of types of people or entities that other people think are missing from this list, welcome to contribute it.
And you could maybe, because there's a lot of different departments involved, maybe if there's like primary speakers and then secondary. Yeah.
That'd be good.
So your
Yeah.
primary would definitely be rec parks, LAFD.
Yeah. For the public safety one, for sure. Yeah, the most obvious one, yeah.
But those would be like the main speakers, and then BOE services, but they're not, they can kind of be secondary speakers maybe. So
Okay, primary and secondary. Duly noted.
Can I say one more thing on that?
Pardon
Can
me?
I say one more thing on this?
Okay.
Projects already in place prior to this public safety needs assessment. I would really like if anyone knows or hears. I know one, so I'm just going to use an example because it's on my street on Westminster, where they already wanted to gate off the area that they're saying they're going to gate off. But that, like, for example, on here it doesn't say that they would also put in the seating areas that would serve as a further blockade that can improve the street in addition to being a public safety. I'm sure there's other streets that have similar plans, or like Dundon, for example, too. Maybe they could do that same thing. I don't know. I would love to not only have all these agencies talk, but to have there be a time when those projects can be.
We would definitely get input from the businesses.
Yeah.
Discuss that, because deliveries are an issue, but the businesses will be very happy to.
But wouldn't this also include the street?
Street tourism, yeah.
Right. And it would overlap into
And
beautification and all
transportation,
those
that's
things.
why it's like so many different departments involved, that's why
Yeah.
I think 2 tiers, primary, secondary.
So, moving on to number D, which is come up with a name, and whether it's the Oceanfront Walk Public Safety Town Hall, but whatever it is, we need to come up with a date and a name, and our invite list, and who's going to do the work on getting the invites together. So sort of self-explanatory what needs to happen there.
Any
And
ideas on a name to talk about?
that's we got it at Matt's meeting. But there is one item that I forgot to insert in there, and that is the need for a, and this is related, but the need for an individual who would transcend all of the agencies. And are you able and prepared to talk about what that might be like?
We don't know
what you guys are talking about in that regard?
Mike definitely wants to do something like that. He definitely wants to do a line item. I know that's written in here somewhere. So we're looking at different parks throughout the nation to kind of look at models, but we're all ears. That's definitely something we'd be very interested in. Instead of having maintenance and then recreation, to have one person always at Venice Beach, or consistently at Venice Beach, to oversee all the operations of Venice Beach. That is something we would like to do.
How can the Oceanfront Walk Committee help facilitate that for the councilman's office?
I'm not sure yet, because we're not really sure what that looks like yet, but definitely stay tuned. I'll keep you posted on when it would be a good time to kind of start through the community. We don't know what it looks like, so we don't really have anything to share with the community.
Scott.
Wouldn't that fall under Parks and Rec? And wouldn't that not run similar to something like Griffith Park with the
Yeah, it could, that's what it could look like.
But there's a difference between Griffith. The difference is the Griffith Park doesn't have a beach, so they don't have beaches and harbors, right? So there's two entities right there that are, nobody is bridging between those two.
Don't forget sanitation and street services. I mean, there's so many agencies.
Well, isn't there sanitation and street services in Griffith Park too?
True.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly,
I'm sure there's, the point is, your point is that there's different governmental agencies that have to work together, and whether it's Griffith Park or City Park.
Let's look at that one.
Yeah, but in
Right.
this case, the
Yeah.
beaches and harbors and the park, boardwalk, you're talking about county and city. That's a little different from Griffith Park. It's all city.
Point being, you could start somewhere.
Appropriate model.
Yeah.
If you're
I know,
looking
but-
for a
but-
model.
I mean, yeah, we're just looking for
If
a
you're
model.
looking for a model, Griffith Park has the depth of resources that Venice Beach Park needs in the form of dedicated staff, park rangers, all of the things that this area is lacking, Griffith Park has as an existing model. The enforcement gap that we always talk about between recreation parks and the LAPD, that would be bridged by a park ranger or park rangers. So again, anything we can focus our attention on in this area to hammer home the park, to hammer home the line item budget for this park, we're solving a lot of problems. We wonder where the money's coming from. That can answer a lot of that problem.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
Okay.
What time on the 29th?
7 p.m., eh, Matt?
Tentative, but yeah.
Well, what
7 or 7:30.
what time is the councilman available to make his
That's
open
why
remarks?
I was curious, that's why I'm trying.
7:30? Is that before? That's before daylight savings. If that makes sense.
We're gonna do an hour and a half.
Seven's better.
I push for 7:30, but
Between 7 and 7:30.
Not one.
I mean, yeah. So
Okay.
let's do 7:30. 7:30 will be good. All right.
It's late. 7.
All right.
I'll be in touch.
7.
I agree.
Thank you, Ms. Castillo.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate your time, as always.
I will be emailing. Thank you.
Okay. Matt, would you be willing to tackle the task of doing some research on Griffith Park and
Sure.
and how that is organized?
Wouldn't that would be the guy who, what's the name of the guy who runs that? Like, or there's like one person that runs Griffith Park. It would be interesting to invite him.
Well,
I would love to hear what
Griffith
his-
Park does have its unique identity because it was set up on sort of a permanent endowment. You can kind of look at it as like the Getty Center, where they sort of said, like Griffith W. Griffith has that big announcement where he said, this land is to be used for this purpose. So he funded that. No one really funded the inception of Venice Beach. So there was, the city I think has a lot of obligation to that land because of how it's deeded.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
That it doesn't to its other subsidiary parks. But I'd be happy to do the research on it.
Okay.
Because it's crucial. We could cherry pick these concepts till we're blue in the face, but it's one overarching fix that. Well, I don't want to paint it as perfect, but I have lists of 17, 18, 19 things, and the overwhelming majority of them would be covered if there was a more significant recreation and parks presence in Venice Beach.
So, Melissa, will you make a note of that? And can we get and we're going to get a report from Matt at the next meeting?
Yeah.
Boy, they're dropping like flies. Oh, you're coming forward. Nice, thank you. Awesome. Okay, so Melissa, would you do number 4, please?
I mean, we voted the last meeting to collect information, and now that we just hopefully set that meeting for the 29th, be a good time to set dates. Shelley's not here, and she was really the person that helped me put together this motion, and I know she's behind helping collect some of that data. The neighborhood committee also is already doing the same thing. They're going door to door. So it would just be like additional public support of what the public wants to see west of Speedway, going to businesses, inviting them to the town hall, and if they can't come to the town hall, getting something from them to say what they would like to see. That's really it. So it's basically, I would just like to have people volunteer to do that on a couple days from this committee, or from people not on this committee that they know would help do that. And I talked to you about putting a form together, and I don't know if we have to work with you, but I also need to make one on Google Docs for when we go and do that, to just like ask a couple questions and say, what would you like to see? You know, we already approved this motion. Yeah, so I already talked to Helen about doing the form, and they can have it be official. What's wrong?
No, I'm following.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So that's it. We already voted on this motion. I really just, if we're not going to do it right now, I'll get with Shelley and send an email out to everyone on what dates, and then you can volunteer to go door to door and ask these questions. And I would like the neighborhood committee to help us, because they're already doing something similar.
We talked with the neighborhood committee about because they're, neighborhood committees are a little bit, but Ocean Walk really should be here.
Yeah.
They should be like attending.
I invited Mark, but
Say it again, please, Helen, I'm sorry.
I think that the representatives on the neighborhood committee, who are the Oceanfront Walk representatives, which there's north, middle, and south Oceanfront Walk.
Critical.
I think that all those people should be like involved in this.
Absolutely.
And it's easy to find out who those people are. It's on the website. This person, that person, the other person. Colleen Sarah's one of them.
so I
think so.
All of them about it.
I'm suggesting that those people should
Take
be
on
involved.
the responsibility for invitees to this meeting.
Yeah, neighborhood committee?
Yeah.
Who's on the neighborhood committee?
It's on the VNC website. I put, well, on chart that you just figure out how to make sure people get to this meeting.
Yeah. I won't be there, but I'll make sure they get there.
I guess one
Our meeting? Our meeting?
Yes, this meeting. You're in charge of invites.
One other thing I should discuss that's not included in this, but not only to volunteer to go door to door, but also we'll need volunteers for the actual Oceanfront Walk town hall too. Right?
Yes. Okay, Melissa, I just appointed Ron in charge of being the person on our committee who would make sure that everybody gets invited to this meeting that should be invited to this meeting. So as Helen just said, all the heads of all the neighborhood committees should be invited to this meeting. Ron's gonna see that that happens every month. Put that in the minutes, please. Awesome. Okay,